where the liberals are scared to death of this movement. This is the mainstream of America. And that's why what we're seeing happening everywhere I go to speak across the United States, people come up to me and say, Michele, I voted for Barack Obama in 2008. I will not vote for him this time. People who tell me they are Democrats, we have walked away from Barack Obama. Democrats by the droves are saying they will not vote for him. Independents by the droves are saying they are walking away from Barack Obama. People who've never been political a day in their life are saying, I've got to do something to take the country back. And they're getting up off the couch and they're saying, I'm going to get involved. This is incredible what we're seeing. From Maine to California, from Florida to Washington to state, and here all across South Carolina. I've been all across the state multiple times, and it's absolutely almost unanimous. Barack Obama will go. He will not be the next president. Why we are going to stick together. We're going to stick together, and with one voice we will secure the promise of the future for the next generation. Because consider this, from the beginning of our country, from 2000, from the time that the Constitution was passed, from the time the Constitution was passed until I took my oath of office in Congress was 219 years. In 219 years, the nation accumulated $8.67 trillion in debt. $8.67 trillion. In just the time I've been in a little over 4 years, the nation is now at $16.7 trillion. We have almost doubled the level of debt under Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid. Those are three musketeers that I think this country can do without. That's why what I'm hearing people say all across the country is they aren't so sure if their kids are going to have it as good as they did. Now think of this. Also, for those 219 years before I came in, every single generation in American history has done better than the generation before. Every single generation. And now here we are, the links on the chain, this many years later. From the time of the Declaration, it's now 235 years. And so this is what our question is. This is what the election is all about. Will this next link on the chain of America be forged? Will we leave religious liberty for this next generation? Will we leave the intact family for this next generation? Will we leave this next generation a legacy of life, of marriage, of family? Will we leave them with the possibility of living a better life financially because of fiscal conservatism? And will we leave them the greatest military power in the world, which we are today? Will it remain? Because right now, Russia and China are advancing at lightning speed to become the predominant military power in the world. What did Reagan understand? He understood you cannot have the greatest military powerhouse in the world unless you have prosperity. He got that. And so Reagan came into office. He lowered tax rates. He got the economy booming like we had never seen it before. That booming economy allowed us to become the premier superpower of the world and to be the victor in the Cold War. Reagan understood that. By President Obama foolishly weakening our economy with his failed economic policies, that is more than economic devastation. It is also national security implications. And that's why, as President of the United States, I get that. I get the economy. I'm a former federal tax litigation attorney. I spent years in the U.S. tax court, seeing up close and personal how devastating high taxes are on this economy. I get the economy. I get how you turn it around. My husband and I come from a very modest background, but we started our own successful company, and we created real jobs in the private sector. We actually think creating a profit is a good thing. Hey, that's good. We want everyone to have that chance to start a business, own a business, create a part, and own a part of the American dream. That's a good thing. And when you have that strong economy, and when you uplift the family and the shared values that we hold, then you can have a strong military presence, and you can have individual rights that we uphold. We are absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, the greatest nation in 5,000 years of recorded human history. We are. That's who America is. And as your president, I will make decisions that will make the United States of America a respected nation once again in the world. Because I want jobs here in South Carolina. I don't want them in China. This is where they need to be. Now, President Obama has a different opinion. He appoints anti-job people to the National Labor Relations Board. People who say to great companies like Boeing, willing to start thousands of high-paying jobs in South Carolina, sorry, can't go there. They're a right-to-work state. That's right. We have to go somewhere where my political friends live. Is that America? No! It is not America. This is an anti-job president. I will be a pro-job president. Woo! And that's why for the last 2 months, I was the leading voice in the United States Congress, the lone voice in the wilderness of Washington saying, do not raise the debt ceiling. Do not raise it. We did not have to default. I introduced a plan so we wouldn't default. We would pay our interest on the debt. We would pay our military men and women. Our senior citizens would get the checks that they're expecting in the mail, which, by the way, that was one of the most irresponsible things the president could do, threaten senior citizens that they wouldn't get their checks. And threaten the military. You may not get your checks. Meanwhile, did you know there were reports that the administration behind closed doors were frantically making phone calls to the big bankers, telling the big bankers, oh, don't worry, your checks are going to be coming. Don't worry, we're not going to default. Everything's going to be fine. So it was fine for the administration to worry and threaten senior citizens. It was fine for the administration to worry and threaten the military, but behind closed doors, they can call big bankers and say, oh, don't worry, there's nothing to this. That is a disrespectful view of the American people, and one that I would not do as your president. It's time that we call them out, and it's time that we stand tall. The good news in all of this is this. It really isn't that hard to turn the economy around. It seems like it's so complicated, but quite honestly, it would be a pleasure. All you have to do is prioritize spending and put a cap on it and say, that's it, and no more. South Carolina's own Jim DeMint was pushing that effort in Washington, D.C. It really isn't that hard if you try. In 1 quarter, we can advance pro-growth policies, which I get, which I would do. Advance these pro-growth policies, and in 1 quarter, you start the job creation engine moving in the right trajectory. It isn't that you solve it in 1 quarter, but you can start it pretty darn fast. I am thrilled and excited about what we can become, but I know that we've got this tiny window of opportunity called 2012. I was at the tip of the spear, the chief person fighting against Obamacare when it was put into Congress, and the first person in Congress to introduce the bill to repeal Obamacare. I just want you to know, as President of the United States, I will not rest until we repeal Obamacare.
Yeah! Yeah!
And as nominee of the Republican Party, I'm an extremely hard worker. I will not rest until I can help elect 13 more Republican senators so we can have a filibuster-proof vote in the Senate and actually repeal Obamacare, repeal Dodd-Frank, repeal every unconstitutional measure.
Yeah! Absolutely.
And we will do that the very first week of my presidency. No fooling around. We're going to get the job done.
Yeah!
And with your help, that's exactly what we're going to do. I want to thank you for coming out today. God bless all of you. God bless the United States.